Good day, everyone. You are tuning in to episode 3 of the Pro Learners Logs, a podcast of the National Educators Institute, a future-forward hub for Bermuda's educational dynamic difference makers. I'm Ruzelda Severin.
And I'm Samantha Smith. In the Pro Learners Logs, we bring you informative professional conversations with some of Bermuda's most inspirational educators. Today marks the final installment of our series, the ChatGPT Chronicles, Educators on the AI Frontier.
What a start for the NEI podcast it has been, Samantha. We've had the privilege of chatting with Nachika Trott and Denise Simons from Bermuda College, our only tertiary institution, and private school educators Ashley Phipps of Summersfield Academy and Dan Kavanaugh of Warwick Academy.
There were so many insights into the ways that they use ChatGPT, either in their daily tasks or in the way they have students use it. I also like that Denise gave voice to educators who aren't quite convinced that this is the way to go, and to those who question how students and teachers can use ChatGPT ethically.
True, but whether people agree with ChatGPT or not, one thing most seem to conclude is that generative AI has transformative implications for education.
It feels like a bit of a cycle.
Well, what do you mean?
I mean, the initial resistance to the changing technologies in education that eventually become mainstream or standard learning tools. Think about it. What other technologies faced resistance or even bans that are now commonplace in the classroom?
Calculators. I mean, math teachers were pretty dead set against them back in the 80s. Do you remember the 80s, Samantha? I don't know, as far as schooling is concerned.
Well,
but now, yeah?
I grew up with the calculators.
Okay.
But
now the focus is not so much on whether to use them, but on how and when. Also, I remember very clearly personal computers. And what intrigues me about the personal computer is that the argument for bringing PCs into the classroom is the same position that some are using to bring ChatGPT and other generative AI platforms into the classroom. Industry. Industry adopted the internet and the personal computer use far more quickly than the field of education, and a partial prompt to its classroom acceptance was a matter of education aligning with industry needs.
For educators who are not there, is the industry acceptance enough to drive ChatGPT toward similar transition into the classroom? I know that just recently, the Global Privacy Assembly and the Bermuda Business Development Agency held local conferences about AI in business. I'm looking forward to hearing what our business educator has to say about AI connections between industry and the classroom. Education reform, which our public schools are currently enmeshed in, is often driven by industry needs.
Well, that's a great segue into delving into the generative AI world of public school education. This interview is going to be a little different than the past interviews in that, unlike the previous interviews where both guests were classroom teachers, today we will have a classroom teacher and a computer information technology education officer. That's a lot from the Department of Education.
Yes, the classroom perspective will be from Sonia Waldron, an impactful business educator from the Berkeley Institute, and Shequita Parson, who, as an education officer at the Department of Education, plays a pivotal role in shaping technology policy and curriculum within the public school system.
So instead of just a classroom perspective, we get a school and a system perspective. This is going to be exciting.
I was going to say with that, let's end our speculation and just bring Sonia Waldron and Shequita Parson into the Pro Learners Log for what I am certain will be a robust discussion. Welcome, ladies.
Welcome, Sonia and Shequita. The National Educators Institute is thrilled to have you on the Pro Learners Logs.
Agreed. And it's my pleasure to introduce Sonia Waldron. She describes teaching as her passion. She is presently a business studies educator at the Berkeley Institute. I am sis. I keep saying Berkeley. I got corrected the other day and said, it's not Berkeley, you're in Bermuda. It is Berkeley. So she
Didn't you go
studies.
there?
I did, but I have a sister who speaks, pronounces every syllable, every consonant, and every vowel. And so she's. So anyway, let me get back on track. She is presently a business studies educator at the Berkeley Institute and has international teaching experience, having worked for 6 years in the United Kingdom. Clearly a reflective education professional. She discloses that her experience makes her eager to become better at my craft. Her primary aim is to provide students with the best educational experience that she can. Welcome, Sonia.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely welcome. And joining Sonia today and providing that system-wide perspective is Shequita Parson. Shequita has been in the education fraternity of Bermuda for 20 years. She started as a social studies teacher at Spice Valley, now known as T.N. Tatum. She then became the deputy principal and P45 teacher at Francis Patton Primary. Yeah, so Shequita, okay, I won't. I was going to put in there that I actually wrote the school song for Francis Patton. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay. But now, of course, Francis Patton is one of our first parish primaries within education reform. But during that time, she also contributed as a member of the standards-based grading team and supported related professional development initiatives. In January 2022, she stepped into the role of acting education officer for IT, a position that aligns with her lifelong passion for technology, ignited in her primary school days through attending computer camps. With such an early start to a passion for technology, this right now, 2024, must feel like a great time to be alive, Shequita. Welcome to the Pro Learners Logs.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited about this conversation.
So our first question is around your initial encounter with ChatGPT. Sonia, we have asked this question of our previous guests, and we're definitely interested in hearing about your initial exposure to ChatGPT, along with what sparked your interest in integrating it into your business classes at Berkeley.
Okay, I first heard about ChatGPT on the news, and then I received an email. I subscribed to a website called Ditch the Textbook, and they offer a lot of digital advice for teachers. So I actually received an email from them that was talking about how AI was going to revolutionize the educational system and that teachers need to be on board. So what I did was I ordered the books that they suggested, and then over the summer I spent time reading these books and trying a couple of different AI tools to see what can work for me and how it can benefit me in the classroom. And my curiosity on it just drove me to just keep looking and finding out more ways that I can use it.
Cool.
Well, I definitely wrote down Ditch the Textbook. I've never heard of that community, and I'm definitely going to look that up. So thank you for bringing something new into my life this early into our conversation.
It's a nice, easy read.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, nice.
Shequita, what about you? How did you first come across ChatGPT? And as a person responsible for guiding digital literacy in the public school system, what aspects intrigued you?
Okay, I first came across ChatGPT just from listening to other people talking and just being curious. So when I hear things, I go and do my own research. And then I got the invite to attend the MEI workshop that was held at the Bermuda College. So having that conversation and listening to what other people were doing sparked my interest even further. But I really didn't take it that far at that point. I just was still I was a little bit hesitant as well at first. And then I had to write a speech for a scholarship recipient. I had to do a introduction of each person. So I wrote what I wanted to say, minus names, and I asked ChatGPT to clean it up for me. And when it spit out what I had written and cleaned it up, I was like, oh, wow, this is amazing. So I was amazed with the results and how it flowed. And from there, I began to use it for education purposes, just to see how now I could help teachers streamline some of their work. So that's what intrigued me, because I was able to do something I was working on. Can't remember exactly what it was, but I was working on something and I was able to get it out the way quick and spend time on other things. What also intrigued me was how you could get it to write. I was working with my ELA teacher, how you could get it right in different people's voices. So, for example, we was like, write it in the tone of how Martin Luther King would talk, things like that. And then how you can differentiate tasks for children on different levels. So those were some of the things that sparked me to really dive into ChatGPT. If it's free or if I have to pay a minimal fee, I go and do it and just keep teaching myself.
Well, you have already, this early in the conversation, we have a lot of meat here, because if someone was wondering about ways to use ChatGPT, you certainly just gave wonderful examples. I want to be clear about our format today. So because we have the classroom perspective as well as the system perspective, we are asking them questions in the same categories so that we get that classroom and system perspective. So we're going to switch from your initial encounter with ChatGPT now and talk about its implementation in teaching. And Shequita, we're going to begin with you. So as a part of your role as the Education Officer for Information and Communication Technology, you are developing AI training for public school teachers. How do you envision the practical implementation of ChatGPT in diverse classrooms? You probably just started that right now. And what sources inform your thinking?
Okay, so what I've tried to do first is stamp out some clear guidelines, some do's and don'ts of ChatGPT, because we have some privacy concerns. So for me, is to upskill teachers in the use of it, just for themselves and how they can use it first, and develop a policy that is aligned with also what we're doing with the skill transformation and how it can support it. So not just saying the do's and don'ts, but how can now it can enhance what you're doing in the classroom. So giving some concrete examples around that. What sources my thinking is from, like I mentioned, I have done some ITC webinars, and they have people in there that talk about policy. They also have persons on there that talk about bringing in the students with, I don't want to use special needs, but students with diverse learning. So I join any AI webinar to help source and get ideas for what we can do as a system, because it's not going to be one size fit all. We have people at different levels. So I want to be able to bring people in where they're comfortable, where they're not hesitant to. And so, for example, we have PD, and I brought in a tool for them to use just to help plan. So that was just one of the first initial steps. So sourcing, and what Sonia had mentioned earlier, reading, buying books. I just bought a bunch of books while I was away around AI and how to infuse it in the classroom. So using those resources and pulling out what we see. Because I visit classrooms, so I get a feel for people's skill sets and how we can help transition them there.
Yeah, it's really important that we think of even teachers needing differentiation, because as you said, people enter this in different spaces and different places. So thank you for taking that thoughtful approach to our educators, our public school educators. Samantha?
Sure. Yes, Sonia, you are with us because you implement ChatGPT in your business classes.
Yes.
So we're curious, who uses ChatGPT in this scenario? You, your students, or both of you? Please
Mostly my
share a specific example of how ChatGPT has enhanced your students' learning experiences.
Okay, mostly I use it myself. I know that there are students in my classes that do use it. For an example, I just had a marketing class where they had to create a product, and we had students go into not Chat GPT, but I can't remember which AI tool it was. Shequita probably would know. But to go into this AI tool and put in a description of what they would like to create, and the AI tool actually created that document and created that item for them, and it gave them a 3D diagram of that item. It comes in ditch the textbook. It's in the book. They
Okay.
have a list of AI tools that you can
Yeah.
use. So we use that. But personally, what I do, I started to use ChatGPT more than anything else because that was my initial start. And I use it from everything to discussion questions. That's one of the ways I help to expand on my student learning. We have different levels of discussion questions that come from ChatGPT. Just from putting in your topic and the learning objectives, and they will give you questions, conversation prompts. So we have lively conversations in our classes. We can have debates for these items. I also use it to do lesson plans, to do lesson tags, to extract keywords and definitions in different topics so that I know that I'm hitting on things that I need to hit on. I look for verbiage in new topics that I am teaching. So ChatGPT helps me with that. As well as one of the things that I recently used it for was the pacing guide. So I wanted to do a final project, and I used ChatGPT to help me create a pacing guide with objectives that allowed me to have assignments at different dates and different deadlines until the end.
So it sounds like you are really mastering using it for your workflow.
So,
Yes.
yeah, I found that, like I said, you having that book and then just practicing is a way. What another thing that I did is I created my own list of AI tools that I think can be useful. I haven't got to it yet, but I created that list. I created the website for it, what it does, whether or not it's free or it's paid, and then I use it as a checklist, so I can go through and then I can try them, and then I highlight the ones that I think I can use again, and I
That
explain. I
is
write down in
fabulous.
notes why I would use it again. So I
I would
found.
say maybe she can share that with us to post with this episode.
Sure, I can do that. All
And
right. So one of the things, Perplexity, I find is a lot like ChatGPT, but it actually gives sources. So I found that for the upper level students, then that's a good one for me to use in order to allow them to source where they're getting the work from.
So just like Sonia, I am doing a curation of digital tools. And as I use them, I am providing examples of what I'm using them for. And also, so I want to have a booklet that teachers could go to and have it like, this is lesson planning. This is for looking for assignments. This is to help you with quizzes. So laying it out like that. It's in the beginning phases. So maybe Sonia and I, we talked about this. So they have that all in a package that they can go to, and they're not always having to search for stuff because they have so much to do. And I'm very empathetic to what teachers have to do.
Well, we're going to move on to the next topic, which is encouraging responsible use. And I know if you recall, Shequita, when you came to that World Cafe professional conversation we had, that was a big topic where people were concerned about students using ChatGPT responsibly. And I would say even teachers need to be using it responsibly. So, Sonia, you talked about an AI tool that your students are able to use in your classroom. What do you say or do to ensure that when they are interacting with that particular AI, that they are using it as a learning aid rather than a shortcut? And it's interesting because this actually gives a product, right? So
Right.
how do you make sure that they are focusing on the learning rather than I can just get this product out here really quickly and easily?
I try to encourage them to be critical. So they need to critique what comes out. Is this really what I wanted? Is this serving the purpose that I want? Does it make sense? Because there are some things that just wouldn't make sense. If it doesn't make sense, maybe we need to revisit it. So I'm teaching them not to blindly accept information that comes to them, but to be critical about that information.
That's essential, because ChatGPT does a lot of hallucinations as well, right?
Yes.
And it tells you itself, we've talked about this before, it tells you itself that it's biased and that it can make errors.
Exactly. It's important for them to be able to identify biases. Where did this information come from? How did it become sourced?
I was writing something recently, I said use statistics. And so it gave me a stat in there, and I went to verify the statistic that it gave me. And I said, is this a real statistic? Oh, I'm sorry. That was its response. I was just using that as an example.
But you had to question it, right?
Yeah.
But if you didn't question it, you would have assumed that was what it was supposed to be. So it's important that they question.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, what you are highlighting there, both of you, is that people make the assumption that you can use ChatGPT without having knowledge of what it is that you are actually asking it to give you input to give input into. You need to have knowledge about whatever it is you are asking it to do, because it is faulty.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, Shequita, what are some of the concerns public school education professionals articulate about the responsible and ethical use of ChatGPT by students and maybe even colleagues? Can you share a policy currently in place that addresses a concern? If none, based on your reading and research, how might policy address this?
So one of the biggest things is cheating, plagiarism. How do I know it's my students' work? That's one of the biggest concerns that I've heard from teachers. And for me, I would encourage them, you collect writing samples first. You get that, and you could tell how your students write first before you start using ChatGPT. So what would be key in all of this as well is prompting, teaching them how to prompt. And I believe someone said it earlier, it's what you put in, because it learns from us. It learns from what we put in. So the more we prompt and put in, it gets us the information. So that's one thing, plagiarism. The authenticity of the work. Who created it? How do I grade it if they use ChatGPT? That was another example. If they used it and got the essay, well, maybe we turn it around and say, let's look for the traits of this writing. If it's fiction writing, what do we see? What should we expect? Those types of things. If it's a math problem that they're working on and they got the answer, give them the answer and then have them work it backwards. Tell them, show you the work. So it's different things. So the policy for me should have this type of examples in it. So there's, like I said, I'm working on it because it feels like it's so many different things, and you don't want to be too narrow in the policy, and you don't want to be too deep, because you want to have people that can be creative as well, and we don't want to say don't, and stifle people in that. Pardon?
It also may be challenging, and correct me if I'm wrong, because the growth of the capabilities keeps expanding as well. Is that a concern as it relates to developing policy?
So I think that's where I'm struggling in a little bit. And so what I did is send out invite for persons to come in to help craft the policy, because it shouldn't come just from me. It should come from the users as well, to give their input. Other things to keep in mind is using student data and putting student information in it. So those are some of the things that with some concerns of having students' information and sharing that, and data breaches. So who has access to the information, and then the dependency on technology. Like having a policy, do we include any policy? You can use AI or ChatGPT for this amount of your work versus this. Just giving these types of live examples for teachers. And I believe you said it earlier as well, is you have to know your content, even as the educator, even as the person in front of the children, even as a student, you have to know the content in order to know your outputs to what you want. So
can I add to that? I'm sorry. Can I add to that? One of the things that I've done is after the assignment has come in is I've had a conversation. So can that student discuss with me what is in their paper? You know, can they elaborate on it, or, you know, just can they explain what's in their paper?
So, and I'll give a live example with our PD. I didn't use, well, some teachers use ChatGPT. I used another AI tool, which was Magic Skill AI. The reason I like that one is because it's just everything skill related. You don't, so it has one clear focus. And we had teachers unpacking the curriculum standards. What does these standards mean, and how deep do I need to teach it? Right, knowing my verbs from Bloom's taxonomy. How long do I stay? So we was looking at pacing and everything, and so we use that tool to unpack the standards first. So I need to know what to teach, and they had to have an understanding of what it was. To then use the same tool to do unit plans.
Yeah.
So, because they could have went straight into unit planning, they could spit out something, but is that what you really needed to do? So I used the unpacking standards tool in the Magic Skill AI first, and then took them into unit planning. So they had to, you really have to know your content so you could get your outputs.
But you know, when I just want to go back a little bit when you were talking about the policy and the teachers and the student data as it relates to who would have access to it, because I think it goes a little deeper than that. When you read the terms and conditions, I think the question becomes who even then has ownership of this student data. If you put it in, does it now belong to Google if you're using Gemini, or to OpenAI if you're using ChatGPT? Once you use that data in those platforms, who does it now belong to?
Right. And I think this may go to a further question that you have or may come up, but I was supposed to be on a webinar yesterday with Power School, or Schoology, sorry. That's the learning management system. And I actually got to review a bit of it this morning before getting on the flight. And it actually bringing AI into that learning management system, because it's our information. It's just housed in there. So no matter who needs to access it, that's how Schoology now is trying to streamline teachers' use of AI and keeping all the data in one location. That's our data because we put it in there. So it belongs to us and it's not going outside. So that would be depending on what they release and how useful it is for teachers, and I'm sure it will be, then we may be able to just keep everything within that one platform as well for specific things. So that would need to be built in our policy too.
Thank you. Let's move on to how the two of you keep up to date with your professional learning and training. So Sonia, in October of 2023, as Samantha alluded to in our opening dialogue, the Global Privacy Assembly and the Bermuda Business Development Agency held conferences here where they discussed the relationship between AI and the business world. As a business teacher, and I know that at the Berkeley that you do a lot of real world learning, especially in business areas. So as a business teacher, how do you engage in professional growth that connects with the latest advancements in AI and its applications in business? So not just AI in general, but with what you teach, its business applications.
Okay, I have not had any formal training in AI. at all. Haven't been to any conferences. I think I've attended maybe 2 or 3 webinars regarding AI, and one of them was AI in the business field. And so I've actually just been doing my own research and been speaking to people on the side and finding out information, and then implementing it within the classroom. But I haven't had the opportunity to do anything formal.
The good news is the informal methods as well.
Yes. And it works. The informal methods work if that's your option, if that's your only option. And at this point,
Absolutely.
that has been my only option.
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Shequita, what early and impactful conversations and or learning experiences has the system provided to initiate teacher preparation to effectively integrate AI tools like ChatGPT into their classrooms?
We really have not done so yet with a full out plan, if I'm being honest. And that is what I am trying to lay out, implement how to roll out the implementation with the policy. So that's why I feel it's important to have the people in the room so we can look at it together. I don't want to come with my lens. I do, like I mentioned earlier, I do webinars. I think I have a good grasp on using AI and ChatGPT to a certain degree, but I'm sure there's other people that may use it a little bit more than me, that's in education. So just having the right people in the room to help bring it all together with a policy and then a rollout plan and streamlining it, because this is where we got personalized learning. So we personalize the learning, like what pathways can I take or teachers can take to get from point A to point B based upon where their comfortability is. So that is all in the plans. That's what I'm working on this school year, doing the research, the reading, and now bringing in working groups to help formalize what we would like it to look like and in line with the skill transformation as well.
It's a lot of work that has to go on and take place. Yeah. It's exciting though.
Yes, it is. In the webinars and stuff, they tell you it's not, here you go, take it. It really took people time to do it. So I've downloaded or received various policies from different districts, and I'm just going through those policies as well to see how it fits, what can fit for us, and anything else that may be missing that we may need. So that will be all part of the work as well.
And that kind of flows into our next question nicely, the exploration of AI technologies, because like you said, you want a nice, well-rounded view in creating these policies of the tools and of the people using these tools. Sonia, have you explored, I think you started to talk about this, but have you explored any other AI tools beyond ChatGPT?
Yes. One of the ones I think I started to speak about, the one I use with marketing, and that was DALL-E, DALL-E. That's the one where you can put in text and it gives you images. Students like that one. We've used that. We've also used Perplexity because it provides the sources of where the information came from, that allowing you to actually dig deeper into a conversation. And something that I'm actually looking at now, explore boards. I'm trying to, that's something I've just found out about. So that's where you can have a new topic. And with that topic, you create a kind of a diagram that with different probably approximately 8 different links, which allows students to explore in different ways. So one link will maybe allow them to read about that topic. Another link may allow them to watch a video. Another link may be an assignment. So it's called Explore Board, and it seems like it's going to be quite a bit of work to set up. But once it's set up, I think it's going to be awesome.
It's reminding me of the tool you had to use without the AI part of it. But what was that tool that spread everything out across the hill?
Yeah.
Mirror board.
Mirror board.
Like that. Yeah.
For those of you in the listening world, if you don't already know, Samantha used to be my student at Bermuda College. So she's talking about a learning experience they had there.
Yes.
Okay, well, Shequita, you already talked to us about how Schoology is integrating AI into that learning platform. Are there any other emerging AI technologies that you're currently exploring for potential integration into the curriculum or the public school curriculum?
So I just brought up my list of things that I was looking at. So ChatGPT was one. Magic Skill AI, even though it has a course associated with, it has a lot that is free for teachers. The lesson planning, quizzes, some of the examples Sonia used. It even has jingles to make up songs, everything in there. Magic Skill has over 70 different applications that teachers use, and as people use it and they keep getting feedback, they create more, and it's skill specific. So that's why I really like this one. So I pay for it, so I got slower and see what we can do and see how it can help. My biggest goal, though, I know I'm getting offline, is to see if I could create something like this for Bermuda, but I have to train myself. I like Goblin tools. It gives step by step. So if someone's having difficulty, if a student is having difficulty solving a problem or doing a process, they can type it in there, and it will break it down in tasks and say how much time to spend on the task. It could unpack that for you. It also has a brain dump. So if you have a lot going on in your mind and you want to, it would create a list of tasks for you. Learned AI is another lesson plan AI tool. Sizzle is a free math, step-by-step math tool. So just as I come across them and I experience it, and I feel that it's user-friendly and it doesn't take much PD for teachers, that where they can learn it by themselves, this is what I'm creating for them. And I would share it once we get going. So,
and aren't you finding that in many instances these platforms are built to be intuitive anyway, so that a lot of training is not required for you to at least get started?
Yes, and what I like more about Magic Skill AI, you don't have to learn prompting. So if a teacher doesn't need to learn how to prompt, like with ChatGPT, you have to learn how to prompt. You have to know how to prompt, and the more you put in, the better result you get. So if you're very big, you're gonna get big. So with Magic Skill AI, because it's streamlined for school, you don't, and it's already pick the year level, pick the subject area, copy and paste in your standards. It already has that streamlined for you, and then it has a chatbot that asks questions. Would you like me to create a quiz to go with this? Would you like, so it prompts, it has the prompts already built in. That's why I really go to that one a lot for
Can I say something about Magic School AI? Because I use it as well. They another thing that's nice about them is that they have a weekly newsletter that they send out with new stuff that you can do with it. So even if you're not able to use on a regular basis, it gives you a chance to explore different things with it because they send out that information weekly.
I've never dug into it. I've definitely seen it and heard of it, but I had never dug into it. But you have definitely piqued my curiosity, and so I will go and explore it. Thank you, ladies.
And it also has for student support. It can help with writing IEPs, behavior intervention plans. It has all of that. So it's not just about the classroom teacher, but it's also for learning support. It also for behavior therapy. Wow. It has it all.
It's a very thrilling industry that we're delving into with this. I want to ask you both now, under the category of the future of education and AI. So to you, Sonia, how do you see the role of educators evolving in the coming years with the continued development of AI technologies like ChatGPT?
I think it's important for us to maintain a delicate balance in leveraging the advantage of technology, but while upholding the qualities of the individual, of the teachers, and students, or the people, the individual, the human interaction with it. It's important for us to remember that AI is there to enhance and to assist us. So we still come with the creativity and, the emotional intelligence. That still comes from us. So that's something that AI won't be able to take from us. So AI only does what we ask it to do. So we just have to, I think we have to focus on fostering, on maintaining our interpersonal skills and our emotional intelligence, and not being afraid to explore what is out there to be offered.
Shequita, what role do you think AI will play in shaping the future of education, period? I know that's a big question.
Yes. And I'll just start with this statistic is that only 8% of jobs will not require technology.
Mercy, where does that statistic come from?
I was shared with, I can't pinpoint it. I read it. It was shared with me, and I'll send it to you.
Please.
I'll send it to you. I have it on email, so I definitely send it to you. But that's what the research is showing. So, and along with what Sonia said, AI will not replace teachers because we still need that human element, the social emotional learning. But what it can do for the future of education is personalized learning, not just for the students, but also for the teachers, having their own personalized growth plan for teachers, being able to differentiate meeting children where they are at, having that support. In what I was watching earlier today, AI would allow the teacher to now differentiate for the different children that they have in the classroom versus spending hours on a weekend trying to attempt to do work for every child. AI can help in this aspect, in time management. So it'll be automation of administration of tasks. It will help with that. Tutoring. It can help with tutoring. That's what we can help with. And again, all of this is teaching how to use the tools, not removing the teacher. But I may not be able to get to Johnny right now, but here you go, use this because I'm helping someone else in the classroom while you're waiting for me. Now, children's not just their waiting, but I can use a tool to help Johnny find his answer while they wait for me to come to him. Accessibility for students with disabilities can help students. Data-driven to help with the data. Schoology or Power School, that's the house for Schoology, was talking about in what I saw in the video this morning is looking at the data from teachers' grade books and saying, hey, Ms. Waldron, Shequita needs extra support around this, and this. They're pulling the data from what they see in the grade book. So helping teachers to quickly identify what the students need.
Thank you so much for that comprehensive response to that question. This is our final question, and I will ask both of you to respond to it. So what advice do you have for teachers who may be hesitant or resistant to embracing technologies like ChatGPT into their classrooms? And I'm going to ask Sonia to begin, please.
Okay, I think my advice from the beginning is to see technology as an enabler rather than a disruptor. By fostering if we can, as teachers, can foster a environment of curiosity, collaboration and continuous knowledge, continuing learning, then technology can gradually can enhance that, and then we can overcome the hesitancy of using it.
Thank you. Shequita?
I would say start small and just explore basic things like writing assignments, brainstorming topics, just to see what you could get. That's why I would say start small, engage in continue some learning, collaborate with others that may be utilizing AI or ChatGPT. Sonia said it as well. I believe our teachers already have great things that's happening in the class, but how can we take it to another level? So first and foremost, around that hesitant teacher, I would just say start small with pick one thing. It may be one topic that you want to work on, and it may just be writing prompts if you're ELA teacher, writing prompts and focusing on that and seeing what you get.
So just try it.
I was just going to say this conversation has been so riveting. There's so many points in the conversation where you may have seen my smile grow just a little bit more, because it's so exciting to hear how your minds are open and willing to explore, and not just in one area, but to just expand and see how it can support your students. I'm excited to see how this continues to be integrated into our classroom, because as you said, technology is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. And we have to, as educators, be sure that we are including what's coming up to prepare our students for the world at large. And so I'm really excited to hear your perspectives, how you're using it, how you plan on using it, how you're exploring it and studying it, even in the absence of the formal learning availability. You're still taking the time out, taking your personal time out and your personal money out. So I'm thoroughly excited, and I want to thank you, ladies.
Absolutely. And once again, we just had a remarkable, I believe, view of how ChatGPT has become a useful tool, and not just ChatGPT, but so many other tools. If you didn't know about, you certainly learned about them in this conversation. And I like that you both made clear that it's complementary to the traditional methods of instruction that we engage in. And you just were sparking even more curiosity among educators. It's particularly interesting to hear it from a school and a system perspective. So I suppose that when educators consider whether or not to use these technologies, a serious question that we have to ponder when we are just rigidly resistant is, are we preparing students for their future or for our past? So thank you very much for inspiring us, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I could talk all day.
We'll bring you back. Don't worry. We'll bring you back.
Risaldo, I cannot believe that our ChatGPT series has come to an end.
I know, and I enjoyed all three conversations, and I certainly hope that those of you in the listening audience have as well. And if you missed episodes 1 and 2 of the Pro Learners Logs, you can find them on our social media platforms.
And that's the National Educators Institute on YouTube and Facebook. And on Instagram, we are National Educators.
Say it again for the people in the back of the room, Samantha.
The National Educators Institute on YouTube and Facebook, and National Educators on Instagram. And while you're there, please like it, love it, and subscribe to it.
Please, come on. People are shy. We're asking them to engage with us. Educators, go on there and answer some of the prompts. Let's get some conversations going. But you can also find the information in PL Matters, our flagship publication. That's also on our Facebook page. And Volume 12 actually contains the results of the ChatGPT survey that asked Bermuda's educators about whether and how they use ChatGPT. It's interesting and exciting to know what's occurring in Bermuda directly from our educators. And the NEI will continue to bring you such information.
Well, that's it for this episode, everyone. Join us for the Pro Learners Logs episode 4 in April for a conversation on creating cultures of continuous learning for educators for the benefit of student outcomes. We will see you then.
Goodbye, everyone.
Good night.